room, or you could open up your audio and try to talk to me, okay? So today is a special day, especially for us Chinese, because when we mention the word May 20th, okay, we represent unconditional love. So today is actually, we start from a quantum entanglement. That's why we are all here within this space, okay? I myself is called Marcus Tai. I'm the quantum officer of Manata Asia, a whole team of professional trainers. We work in the virtual world and try to present all our trainings within virtual meetings, okay? And I am also the principal of the Quantum Leadership Research Academy. This academy is actually trying to apply quantum leadership into different industry to help all the leaders to try to leverage this new skill set to face the dynamic changing world. Okay, so this is starting. So let me give you a bit more on my background. Okay, after I graduated from UBC, Vancouver, as an electronic engineer, focusing on computer engineering, I go into IT. So when I go back to Hong Kong, I work in Microsoft, Oracle, Sun Microsystems, etc. And then after around 20 years within that area, I start to realize I am actually designed to work not for the software within the computer, but the software within our mindset. So I changed all my profession. I stopped all the IT work. I go into the area of hypnotherapy. I become a corporate trainer. So I use all the NLP skills, etc., into all the communications, motivation, sales performance, improvement, etc. Okay, and recently, within the last 5 years, I start to touch on quantum leadership. It changed all my mindset. It changed all my influence to the world and all the friends that I could touch on. So today I am very glad to share with you and try to enable something that you already have, but try to enable the system, the balance system within yourself. Okay, I wonder if you are excited to start to look into more details. Okay, if you are, please type 1. If you are not, okay, type 2. Let me see how is your excitement. Okay, thank you. Here, okay, thank you, Rebecca and Tony. Okay, thanks a lot, Karen. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so after I listened to all your introduction, I understand that some of you may heard of quantum. Some of you may already working on as a professional coach in the leadership area, etc. But how will these two combine together into quantum leadership? Okay, as I could share with you, when I could recall during my learning from our master, he mentioned to us that in the olden days, if we need to acquire all the skill set for quantum leadership, we need to go into the rural areas within the mountains and try to stay there for more than 10, 20 years before we could attain that kind of energy or attitude. But now, within this world, we have this quantum leadership that we could practice. We could go into that mode within seconds. So today, I'm really excited to share with all of you, okay? So let me start with the situation outside that we are all facing, COVID-19. It changed the whole world, it changed our lives, it changed our work, okay? I would like to let you guys to think, with this new dynamic world, what could we do and how the world would change it too, okay? Actually, I would tell you that this is the emergency of our VUCA world. VUCA is what we are mentioning now. Everything we are looking into are volatile. Okay, we can't decide the next second what will happen. Okay, there is no fixed mindset again. So we need to keep on have a growth mindset to keep on so that we have new ideas coming up. Everything happening with the U, which is uncertainty. We really don't have a certain idea what is coming up and what are the solutions that we could come up with the situation right now. And there's more and more complexity of the problems coming up, the issues that we are facing, and the last but not least, ambiguity. Everything happened. It's sort of like really ambiguous. We cannot decide immediately. So this is the emergency of a VUCA world that we are facing. So I would like to see if any one of you could share on the chat room. Do you have any idea how we could cope with this changing world and the VUCA world? Do you have any idea? Just type a few words on the chat room so that I could understand. Thank you. I'll wait for around 10 seconds. If there is no answer, I understand that is your feedback. That is emptiness or zero. Okay, thank you, Karen. Need to keep learning. Very good. Be flexible. Adaptive. Very good. Moving together. That is good idea because we always are a team. Okay. We are. Let me ask the end. The meaning of that is. Will you elaborate a bit on that?
That means being able to shape shift. You know what a chameleon is?
To shape yourself?
The chameleon is the lizard that can change the color of its skin according to the environment it's touching. Yeah, camouflage, exactly. So being able to shape yourself according to the environment.
Great stuff. Thank you, Lian. And I could see Rebecca mentioned that instant to change our consciousness. Very good, very good. Okay. Believe. Okay. So piano. Is it piano? Okay. Could you elaborate a bit on that? Could you open your audio so that you could talk? Open the speaker. Believe. The meaning on that is.
Sorry. Do you mean me, Pierino?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay,
maybe I pronounced your name wrongly. Yeah.
What I mean by lean?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So
I'm just taking the basics or the idea of the lean startup, in which you have to be able to pivot all the time around what you find in the market in order to get your products, your services adapted to it.
Very good, very good. Thanks a lot. That is very clever. At least you start not with a lot of heavy investment. You start with a lean structure or framework. And then when you face changes, you will be more adaptive and flexible to the situation. Very good. Thanks a lot for all your answers. Okay. So actually, you all point out that we are leaving the existing world. What is that? We can see we are now leaving the old world, which we describe as Newtonian. The Newtonian world is actually what we live, sort of like within the factory, we have the production lines. So everything is predictable, structural, hierarchical. So we could see things as matters only. Okay, just like the atom, particles, they are stable, they resist to changes. Okay, and every one of us should feel that we are individual. We go to our work, we have our own family and stuff like that. And they are really looking into objective reality. But now actually we are sort of like going into a quantum world. What is it? Everything is agile, unpredictable, unstructured. Okay, and we are talking more on the duality of matter. So we are not talking only on matter. We are always feeling about the energy. Okay, and everything, as we view in the VUCA world, is sort of like unstable, always changing, and we start to look into as one. Okay, oneness is very important. Just like we, as a platform on GBO, we as one. We like give and take. We share our stuff. Like today, I share with you, and later I should learn from you on your topic, on your specialty, just like that. And also, we should try to see from the subjective reality. Okay, we always need to see the world. Who is the observer? Is it ourselves or others are looking into the same? We should move ourselves into others' view and try to look at the situation and stuff like that. So this is what we call moving into a more quantum world. Okay, and within this quantum reality, what we suggest you to do is to upgrade your iOS. Not what we are talking about the Apple iOS or what we talk about the Android, but the iOS within ourselves, how we see the world, how we see ourselves. So we all talk and start with self-awareness. This is the starting point. Okay, let me share a bit more about quantum because maybe not all of you are familiar with quantum. So let me start on that. Okay, let's talk a bit on the emergence of the quantum era. Okay, we are quite, for example, myself, quite stick onto the traditional computers. We have the CPU, we look into all the different peripherals, etc. But what we are looking into more is we have a lot of new technology coming up, okay? Not even talking about the Wi-Fi. We go into more energy-oriented new equipments and skill sets. And nowadays, actually, with the emerge of the quantum computer, not only in the Western area, but also in China, the computing ability is much, much faster than the traditional computer. Okay, so this is how the world is moving into quantum. Okay, let me elaborate more. So I would like to see a number of hands. You could try to type one if you know about this double slit experiment. Have you ever understand or try to see more around this double slit experiment? If you do, this type of 1. If you never do, this type of 0. I'd like to see if any one of you already gets some basic idea on what is double slit experiment. Okay, not for here. Okay, not for Rebecca. Yeah, Dayton, okay. Okay, yeah. So I guess about half of you didn't heard about that. Okay, so with that, let us share a little video so that all of us are on the same page. So what is double slit experiment? How will it lead into the quantum world? Okay, so I would like to share with you a quick video. Let's start.
And here we are, the granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So, when we throw things, that is, matter, through two slits, we get this, 2 bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through 2 slits, we should get, like the marbles, 2 bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. We get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought, maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they could interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never world of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
Okay, I will stop here. When I first looked into this video clip, it was really eye-opening. I don't know how is your feeling. Could one or two of you could try to share your feeling? Or do you understand what we are talking about here? The most important part is actually to the end of this clip. Okay. So anyone would like to share, or if you would prefer to type in the chat room, please do so. Yeah. What is your feeling towards that? Okay. Let me see with some idea. I can see Zoe, welcome Zoe. Zoe, just now I can see you coming. So
Hello.
Hello. Were you able to see the video just now?
Yeah, I just saw the video. I'm sorry, I don't know if I've joined this meeting late or early. I might have got the wrong time. I don't know how long you've been going for.
Okay, we started on the first part. Yep, talking about the quantum leadership. So
Okay.
if you have finished watching the video, do you have any feeling that you have? Any sharing on after looking into that?
It's kind of another realm to me, to be honest. It confuses me. So yeah, I didn't really know what to expect today, but I was interested in it, so I thought I'd join. But yeah, it kind of goes over my head a little bit, if I'm honest. It's a bit too scientific for me.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Zoe.
But I'm learning.
Okay,
I'm learning.
Okay, sure, no problem. Yeah. And also thank you, Rebecca, to share on the chat room. Amazing, beyond my understanding. Yeah, actually, they are talking about an experiment. When we try to shoot particles through two slits, okay, we are supposed to see they will gather into two lines on the board behind. But to our surprise, they go into several straight lines behind the board. okay, we start to realize they go into a form of wave. This is not the exciting part. The exciting part is when the one doing the experiment, they try to put a camera to try to watch the small atoms to go into those slits. They start to go back into the atom particles, and they go into two straight lines again. When we shut off the camera, they go back to several straight lines. They become waves. So that is the important part. When there is some observer observing the particles, the electrons, they shape themselves and become atoms and particles. When we shut down the observation, they go back into wave. This is a really surprising idea that we want to start to talk today. Okay, I see another note on the chat room. Let's see. Okay, good ear for it. So students are better. Yeah, we always love cartoon, etc. So in order to confuse you more, I prepared another screen which if you are a cat lover, I would like to share the screen. Okay, let's try to see this and try to understand more.
You may have heard of Schrodinger's cat, but may not know exactly what it refers to. That is because it can be quite a complex concept to grasp. Today, we will explain Schrodinger's cat in a way you can truly understand. But first, who was Schrödinger? Born in Vienna on August 12, 1887, Erwin Schrödinger was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1933. Schrödinger is famous for his work in quantum theory, particularly for the Schrödinger's wave equation, which described the behavior of quantum particles, which act like both waves and particles. His equation provided solutions in which wave functions are related to the probable occurrence of physical events. A man of many talents, Schrödinger also attempted to show how quantum mechanics could be used to explain the stability of genetic structure. However, despite all this, the issue of the role of probability in quantum theory made Schrödinger, along with some other physicists, very unhappy, and he devoted a great deal of time to developing philosophical objects to the standard interpretation of his own theories. The most famous of these is a thought experiment, now referred to as Schrödinger's cat. The thought experiment was an attempt to refute an idea proposed by physicists in Copenhagen. Known as the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, these physicists suggested that particles could exist simultaneously in two states, and that it was only once the particle had been observed that it existed in one state or the other. Schrödinger came up with his thought experiment as a way to argue that this theory did not make sense. One version of the thought experiment goes something like this. Imagine you locked a cat inside a steel box that is completely cut off from the outside world. In the box, said Schrödinger, you also place a vessel that contains a small amount of a radioactive substance. The radioactive substance is such that after 1 hour, there is an equal probability of one atom of the substance either decaying or not decaying. You also place a Geiger counter inside the box, which can detect if radioactive decay has taken place. The Geiger counter is connected to a hammer perched above a small glass container holding a poisonous gas. If the Geiger counter detects radioactive decay, it will prompt the hammer to break the glass, releasing the poison. This poison will then kill the cat. While the box is still closed, there is no way of predicting what has happened inside it, as there is an equal probability of the atom decaying and not decaying. We therefore cannot know whether the cat is dead or alive until we open the box. Speaking in terms of quantum mechanics, as long as the box is still closed, we could say that the cat exists in a superposition of states, both alive and dead. Once the box is opened, the atom's wave function collapses, and one outcome is observed. Schrödinger argued that this outcome was quite ridiculous, as you could not possibly have a cat that is both alive and dead. The experiment might sound strange, but it was simply meant to show how ludicrous the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics and quantum superposition were. However, because of the complicated way Schrödinger set up his experiment, many people assume Schrödinger was in fact supporting the concept of quantum superposition. In reality, he was arguing the opposite. It should be noted, though, that while quantum superposition can seem silly when applied to everyday objects in the macro world, the theory is not without merit. It does in fact work for quantum particles like electrons. On a final note, we would like to share this little fun fact. Albert Einstein got very excited about Schrödinger's thought experiment and even developed his own version with explosives. There, now you know all there is to know about Schrödinger's cat.
Thank you. I hope this will not confuse you more, but the whole idea is that different atoms or material can actually go into a state of quantum superposition. It could either be an atom or a wave. Okay, it all depends on the situation or the environment. Just like the double slit experiment, when there is someone to observe it, the particle will change. They will decide to go from a wave to collapse into particles. Okay, all happens with observation. Okay, we want to start with that because it not only affects in the quantum world, but also affects human and also materials. Okay, so that's why I want to start with this experiment. Although the writing in Chinese, let me explain a bit more. This experiment really surprised me a lot because, as you know, the little chickens, when they are birthed, they usually follow whatever they see on the first eyesight. Okay, so a bunch of chicks, when they are birthed, we try to put them alongside with some robots. The robots will move here and there, and the chick will just follow as if their mother. Okay, what we do is an experiment. Experiment A is like that. When I put this automatic random moving robot into a box, it will just move like this in this path, randomly around the box. Okay, this is the experiment. And next to that, I put a cage. This cage, I did not put anything. Okay, next, what do you think if I put a little chick, when they were birthed? Okay, we put them alongside with this robot. And it used to follow this robot to go wherever the robots go. So without the trick in the cage, the robot go anywhere within the box. And on experiment B, like this, when I put the little trick into this cage, you could see the random robot, the path, will go alongside to the very end of the box to try to stick into the side of the trick. As you can see, this is what we are talking into. Okay, our energy, our attitude will affect quantum, material. Okay, even a robot, a random moving robot, when I put the chip, it will affect because the frequency, the mindset, the brain waves coming up will affect the robot. So this is another experiment. So what will this kind of consciousness affect human? Okay, the last video I want to show today is this one. Let me show to all of you. Okay, stay on.
Are doing it.
Just tell me where you are. Good. But hurry with it, please, because these models are giving me a headache.
10 minutes.
Exhibit comes to us from Japan and Mr. Masuro Emoto.
Mr. Emoto became terribly interested in the molecular structure of water and what affects it. Now, water is the most receptive of the 4 elements. Mr. Emoto thought perhaps it would respond to non-physical events. So he set up a series of studies, applied mental stimuli, and photographed it with a dark field microscope. This first picture is a picture of water from the Fujiwara Dam. And this picture is the same water after receiving a blessing from a Zen Buddhist monk. Now, in this next series of pictures, Mr. Emoto printed out words, taped them to bottles of distilled water, and left them out overnight. This first photograph is a picture of the pure distilled water, just the essence of itself. These subsequent photographs, as you can see, are each different. This is the chi of love. And we move along here to thank you. And you can see where he taped that to this bottle here. But if you read Japanese, you already knew that. Now, Mr. Emoto speaks of the thought or intent being the driving force in all of this. The science of how that actually affects the molecules is unknown, except to the water molecules, of course. And it's really fascinating when you keep in mind that 90% of our bodies are water.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If thoughts can do that to water, imagine what our thoughts can do to us.
Are doing it.
Okay. So what this pieces would like to show you is that if our observation and our awareness, our consciousness could change a particle into an atom form or into a wave form, we could also apply it to a water. Okay, as simple as we tap a word, thank you, I love you, onto a bottle of water, the water crystal will change itself. You see how magical it is in terms of quantum, the effect towards our thinking. And there's another sentence from this clip that's really important. If our body is really composed of more than 80 to 90% of water, what will be a negative thought or a positive thought will affect our health. That's really important. So I want to start all this actually so that you understand the smallest particle we look into and material is actually what we call the quantum. And within the quantum, or it will change whether into a wave form or into a particle form, all depends on the observer. Okay, so this is the start of the whole conversation of the quantum leadership. Okay, so I want to have a first touch today so that you understand a feeling of the personal energy. Actually, within our body, we do have the self-balancing system to balance our attitude, negative thinking, and stuff like that. But why do we, the body system is able to? So I would like to, as compared to our health. So when we were a youngster, when we were a kid, whenever we have a fever, what will our mom or dad do? They'll give us a Panadol, give us some medicine, and then with that medicine as an aid or equipment, okay, our body temperature will lower down. But I would like to tell you, actually, our own immune system is an automatic defensive system for us. And studying to us that a fever of around 39 degrees will actually, within 15 minutes, kill around 70 to 80% of all the bacteria or virus within our body. But somehow, we were put into a situation that the doctor, the parents will give us the Panadol and the medicine to let go the fever. And we need more antibiotics to help our body. Same in our mindset. Originally, we have all this self-balancing system, which is called the consciousness. But somehow, we were disabled by the environment. We just follow our ancestor. We follow what our parents are saying, the society is shaping us into. Okay, so all the quantum leadership, we start with ourselves and try to enable the self-balancing system from our self-awareness or consciousness. Okay, with that, a quick game. Okay, please write in the chat room, what do you see in this picture? What is it? Please type on it. Thanks, Leanne, for the time. I understand it's a bit delayed, but somehow let me rush onto that. Okay, let me see. What do you see on the picture? What is it? Okay, very good. Thanks, Peter, and also Karen and Anthony, Mr. Pen. Okay, very good. Okay, when you see this pen, next, try to imagine if I'm a dog with this pen on my hand. If I'm a dog, I'll try to do it like that. So if I am a dog, what do I see in my mouth? What is this? If I am a dog. If I am a dog, what is it to me as a dog? Okay, a toy to play with, a stick, very good, or even a bone. Try a bit onto it. Okay, next question. Very good, thanks for your answer. Next question, if I am a professional killer, okay, I used to hold this like this. What is this to me if I am a professional killer? This kind. A weapon, very good. Okay, a tool, a weapon, a knife, very good, thanks a lot. Okay, the last question, which is very important. If I try to put this frame into a room, and within the room, there's no human being. There's no human being, no spy, no killer, no dog inside. Just a room, and I lock this thing inside there. I'd like to ask you, what is it if I put this into a room without any human being or without any dog, etc.? What is it? Please start to write it down. What is this thing? Very good. Nothing. Very good. Thanks, Rebecca. Nice. Okay. Yes, nothing. Bingo. Thank you, everyone. Okay. This is actually nothing. I want to put this out because of emptiness. When we put this thing into a room without anything, it is just zero or nothing. I want to bring out the sense of emptiness. And with that, I'd like to share with you this idea. Okay. We as observer, we are actually creating our own reality. Okay, so there is 3 rules that we look into our own reality. Okay, actually everything, all reality, 100% create or project from ourselves into the outside. We mention this as whether it is as a pen, it's a weapon, or it is a bone. Everything is actually a reflection of our mindset into this thing. Okay. The second rule is, since this is 100% created by ourselves, our projection, we have 100% responsibility for our reality because it is created by our projection. Last but not least, since this is created by ourselves, we have some responsibility. We can 100% create any reality we desire. Okay. So this is how we start the conversation on quantum leadership. With all the self-awareness, we should understand that the world or anything, any issue in front of us, whether we have negative emotion or whether we look into that and we feel positive, actually it is a projection of our inner awareness. And we have the responsibility and we could create a new reality to it. Okay. So within quantum leadership, the first thing we do is to start with self-awareness, how to open up our dome machine, which will 24 hours fly around ourselves and try to look inside ourselves, our emotion, our attitude, to bring up our self-awareness. Okay, so within that, I could quickly mention to you Dr. David Hawkins. After around 20 years of experiment, he do more than 250,000 calibrations and try to look into different human being attitudes, their energy, their force, etc., and try to work out this level of consciousness map. Okay, within that, you could see most of us are actually going into the down the ladder, which is the inaction or hyperactive, which we are living with the shame, guilty, or fear, or even with a higher energy, which is the pride, anger, or desire. But most importantly, we see a lot of positive person or masters. They live into the higher ladder, which will start with the courage, the stability to see into any issue and accept it, to see there is a reason for that issue to happen. And with all the unconditional, they will go into inner joy and also cleanse. Okay, so this as an introduction to all of you, this is the level of consciousness that being by Dr. David Hawkins. And we always follow this map and try to understand with our current emotion state. If you could go into your self-awareness state, you could start from your emotion and realize that what is the quantum energy that you are in. So you could see the energy level, the frequency numbers that you are in. That actually is a logarithmic number, okay, to the multiple of 10. So this is the energetic frequency that we are looking into. Okay, so that's why we always see that a lot of big companies like Apple, Steve Jobs, and also like Google and also Cisco nowadays, within their company, they start with mindfulness. So everyone, including the leaders, they go back into their self-awareness state to understand their current quantum energy level, the emotion, and try to tune up their energy level to a higher state and try to look into the issue within the VUCA world. Okay, so this is the one. And we talked about our team. Everyone, if we could acquire this kind of self-awareness to understand our quantum energy level, we work as a team, as a new team. We go away from the traditional team with our manager. We go into an agile team, which everyone is self-organizing. We only need people to go into a sort of like a servant leader facilitator to help everyone to contribute, to brainstorm. And then this is what we are called the quantum team. We help everyone with different personality, different background, to start from their inborn capability, their talent, and try to work with the similar talent into a group. Okay, and we will go into the quantum team. So last, I would like to share what we call the quantum team. A quantum team is, they're always feeling that they are as one, a big universe as one, holistically connected. They're leveraging all the high level energy and resonate within each other. All of them are actually bringing out their hidden energy inside. And they create a platform which is free highly. The first one is highly breasted. Okay, they feel inner peace and inner happiness. And then they group into highly productive, highly leveraged organization. And this organization is the organization that we are looking into facing the dynamic and the quantum world. Okay, let me bring out a last slide. Okay, this is what we are talking about, the quantum team. Within the quantum team, we always stress that we should start with our own highly breasted mindset. Okay, how can we be highly breasted within the inner happiness? If we could try something from our self-vision, try something from our self-vision and mission, okay, this is what we look into our dream, and we love that. We bring it out and try to work it, put it into our work. We always share caring and also giving. Everything we do is self-choice, self-managed. All of us start with ourselves, okay? And then with similar interests and vision and mission, we group into highly productive small teams. Within this team, they are self-managed. They are all transparent, quick decision, quick feedback, do all the iteration by these small teams. They become a really high productive and really energetic team because each of them were highly breasted. Okay. And then all these small teams, they will put into a big team, big corporation, which is highly leveraged. Within the organization, if they have all this autonomy, small groups doing different areas, they become a big organization with highly energetic. What this platform need to do is just define the vision and mission. Okay, they create an ecosystem, provide a highly collaborative space, and that's it. Okay, and they allow all angles sitting to attract new participants. Okay, last slide is let me show you this slide. Okay, a company in China, which is called Haier. Haier is actually using the quantum team to shape their organization. They just ask one question to all their subordinates. Okay, tell me, if it is not about money, what is your desire or your talent? Do you want to go into a certain department that you could leverage your talent or inborn capability? So people who really love to talk to people, to make sales, they will gather into a sales team. I don't follow their original job. Even if they're originally there in the logistic team, they are in the legal team. If they tell me that they love sales, they will gather into a sales team. And people mention to me that they love logistics, they will form a new logistics team because these are their own choice. They go into their own preference and talents. The whole company go into a highly productive mode within a short period of time. This is what I want to share with all of you, how we start with self-awareness, how we start with the consciousness map to form into small teams and we grow into a quantum organization. This is what we call starting from quantum leadership and become a new team into the dynamic changing world, the VUCA world. Okay, that's all I want to share. Sorry for the time because I really prepare a lot and hopefully I don't confuse you a lot. Okay, Leanne, back to you and we could go into Q&A.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you for this in-depth preparation and for, taking us on a walk through some of the, fundamental tenets of quantum mechanics and all the way through, leadership in teams and organizations and how that's reflected in business. I would like to open the floor for Q&A. I hope it's okay if I start with a question. And it's a clarifying question at first. One of the important principles about the quantum world is the particle wave duality. So I was wondering if you could clarify for everybody, because it's been a while for me and my mind definitely did a couple quantum leaps during this session. Could you help clarify the difference between a wave, a particle, and an electron? And then where it was a bit of a leap for me, is that concept of duality and the different parts of the duality, how is that reflected in these quantum teams and quantum corporation?
This is a very important question. The reason I go into this flow is let you guys to understand when we do the double slit experiment, we are thinking that matters actually start from atoms, particles. Okay, they're really matters. But when we are doing the exercise, we realize that they go into an energy, which we call waveform, a wave function, to go into the slit. And just like the experiment, they try to use water. When water, they start a wave, they go into two slits, they go past the two slits, they go into interfering wave. And when they hit the wall behind, it go into different straight lines. So actually, they go from particle form to go into an energy form, which we call wave function, and they go through the two slits. And with that waveform interference, they go into several straight lines at the end. So actually, you could say the dual form is actually changing from sort of like, you could tell, it's sort of like a particle matter into an energy form. So this is somehow the dual form that they want to express, like that. The reason why we tie it with quantum leadership, within all the leadership, we always talking about attitude and stuff like that. The whole point I want to bring out is, if we are talking about attitude, the first thing we need to address is self-awareness. Because our thinking as a leader within us, whether we are using our pride, arrogance, this is actually a negative form of energy. When we lead our team with that, actually your subordinate will be influenced by all these wavelengths, the quantum energy level, and they will feel that you are not wholeheartedly caring about them. You are always caring about your prestige, your social status, your earning, etc. So this is an example that why we need to care about ourselves, inner self. So we do mediation, medication, and try to look into ourselves. What kind of energy level, quantum energy level within that band of consciousness are we? And we fix it before we lead the team. So this is the starting point. When we talk about the team, okay, actually different members, their level of energy will influence each other. So if we could teach them about quantum leadership, how to adjust their quantum level, you will see a beautiful world because they understand how to adjust immediately to a higher level of energy. Okay, in the end, I don't know if I answer your question, but try to ask more. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. I guess I'm visualizing, like, we're always encountering slits, that shape our trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Would anyone else like to share a question or a comment or a general feeling about this session?
Yeah, I had one, if you don't mind.
Please.
So thank you very much for the presentation. It was a really original one, and I was really fascinated by the scientific parts, which reminded me of my studies. So thank you very much for that one. I have to say I was really convinced by the importance of self-awareness in work. This is something I really believed in for a long time, and I really think that our emotions are actually signals of what's happening inside us, and it's really important to listen to them, to treat our colleagues carefully. So I just wanted to get back on that part because I think it's really important. However, I was a bit confused about the end for the team. So I struggle to understand how you can unify a team like that, like just enabling them to switch jobs and, being really free in what they say and be really understood in a way. How do you create this sense of belonging and a greater goal? I mean, I don't really understand that one.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Anthony, for your question. It is not an easy job. First, we need an open-minded management team. So when we do with this quantum organization idea, we do walk into different companies in China. When we talk to their management team, they really need to have an open mindset. But in this VUCA world, with the economic situation now, they were being forced to believe into what we are saying because of their revenue. The revenue show that if they follow their original Newtonian way of doing stuff, they cannot survive. So that's why they understand, they try. Okay, it's not like a new project to the whole company. We do ask all the staff, what do they really like? If we put the salary outside the picture, what do you really like? Your instinct, your inborn talent, okay? And then allow them to go into groups, into departments, and trust them, okay? When they form the group, okay, actually they will set their own rules. They will have meetings. They will have brainstorming ideas, and they will always report to the management team, okay? But most of the time, we empower them to have all the creativity. Okay. And then with that, you could see a lot of new energy coming up, new ideas that we never think of. Okay. But as I mentioned at the start, we need an open mind and also have a good risk management team. Because with that, it is really different from the traditional way of hierarchy and also reporting structure. But I always mention to those companies, we could start with a virtual team or a project. Okay, as a project, we form what we call a quantum power team. And within a project, you see the magical function of this quantum team. And then next, they will think of why not we put it to our whole organization. We could extend from a small virtual project before that. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's much clearer.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, I welcome any question. Yeah, please, TJ.
Oh, hey, Marcus. So I just want to know, like, what's the difference between an agile team and a quantum power team that you mentioned earlier?
Okay, to a certain extent, actually, they are, in terms of the degree of agility, they are similar because we always mention we need to be flexible, we welcome ideas. But an agile team, you may say it may not come from their own sense of fulfillment, their inborn talent. Okay, we need to go to the extent that they trust their own gut feeling, their really inborn talents, and then mention to the team that I love this topic very much, this function, and then they go into a team and they select their own small team leader. Okay, every guideline are being designed by themselves, so they are really agile. But somehow it's not to the traditional agile team. And just mention to them, I have a task. You guys, you could decide whatever. But we are talking about starting from the inborn talent and the really passion area to kickstart with. Okay. Let's go more into the self-awareness deep down. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Any further question or comments? Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. I'll lower my hand now. Yeah, really amazing. Thank you so much for the presentation. It has always been my belief that traditional hierarchy structure in the company is wrong, and it doesn't really respond to the current situation of the world. And because leader cannot possibly know everything. So if we always depend on one person to make decision or to fix a vision, I don't think we can go very far. And it's quite exciting that the theory that you explained, I think coincident a lot with how the cryptocurrency companies, so what we call decentralized organization are currently function. And how a lot of people today want to create a no one controlled metaverse kind of concept. I think is really going into the same direction. So I just want to ask if how long has the quantum leadership as a theory or as practice has been going on? And if we want to learn more about it, is there any literature or institute that you would recommend to learn more about it?
Sure. Thanks a lot, Peter, for your questions. So if you have interest, when you go into Google or Yahoo and search around quantum leadership, you could see actually the discussion and the experiment around quantum leadership is almost 10 to 20 years ago. Okay, we start from 10 to 20 years old, and you become more mature. And even when it comes to this area, the Southeast Asia, we put into the different Chinese culture into that. We understand more about Qi, we understand more about Tai Chi, etc. It all coincides with what we are talking about, the map of consciousness and stuff. So it developed more maturely these days. So please go to a different area and try to look into different books and materials. And I also agree with your observation. It coincides with what is happening right now, this decentralized world. Quantum leadership actually apply perfectly into what we call the Web 3.0. We move into a decentralized thinking. People always start from their own interests. They go to YouTube, become a YouTuber and talk about the topics they like, and they start to earn. And they start to have all their networking and stuff like that. This is the new world. And that really coincide with what we are talking about, quantum leadership and quantum teams. Thanks a lot, Pete.
Thank you.
I have to go. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for the presentation.
Yep, thanks a lot. Stay in touch. Yep.
Have a really nice day. Bye.
Yep, thanks. Stay connected. Okay. So any more comments or questions? Because we have a few partners that are already experienced quantum leadership. Any sharing? Karen, any sharing?
Okay. I really like quantum leadership actually, because it can make me feel like what I'm doing right way or correct way is totally observed by myself, just like what you said. So so by the time that I finish the course, also during the course, I repeatedly review what I'm doing, and then make me feel like right now I'm more concentrated, and then understand why I'm doing, and also using different angle, especially from my own different angle to look at what I'm doing. So that's why I like it very much. Yeah. So I also share with my friends. That's why I also invite some of my friends, also Jessica and the others, but the other one is too rushed, couldn't get in. Yeah. So I think it's very good for all the management level to understand what's that, and then how to maximize their own potential. Yeah, this is what I understand. Yeah.
Very good. Thanks a lot. Yeah, really good sharing. Last but not least, I would like to share with you all is if you could enable your self-balancing system, try to adjust anytime your map of consciousness from low level of energy to high level, have all the inner happiness to share, you will start to open up yourself to the connection of high level, what we call the spiritual level. Okay, new ideas. Like if you try to follow what Steve Jobs previously shared with us, most of his new idea, the enlightenment, is during his medication. Okay, when you do meditate, you adjust your energy level, forgot all the anger, the pride, whatever, to open up to a high level of energy. You open up your mindset and receive new enlightenment and ideas into your mind. This is another gift I would like to share with you all, but it needs to practice from us, from ourselves, from our self-awareness. Okay, so the end. So any further comments or?
Yes, I would like to ask you something, because considering the leader usually is the one who sets the strategy in a company, and then we're going to the static way of leading. You have to settle in the strategy a long-term vision, a mission, the objectives, and these kind of things. Can you use the quantum leadership in order to pivot, coming back to the current situations and with the lean startups, because you may have a long-term strategy, but in between you have to take directions and different directions, and sometimes opposite directions in the short term in order to reach this future goal. How can you cope this with quantum leadership?
Very good question. Actually, we practice quantum leadership, quantum teams in our new company, which is called Meta Asia. We gather a total of 70 professional trainers, and we use the quantum power team, the quantum leadership methodology. So what we do is, as the founder, what we do is just lay down the vision and mission for the organization, and that's it. We do all the empowerment to the team. So when different people come in, you ask them a question: what is your most inborn talent, the highest fulfillment from your inner feeling for you? Ask them, and then they form into power teams, little groups, and they design and chosen their small leader. Okay, and all this different team will try to leverage each another, and you have a really high productive team coming up. So as a leader, what you need to do is form your company's vision and mission, and that's it. Nothing else from yourself. Otherwise, you go back to the Newtonian way of running your company. Okay, trust them because they have all the talent. You will be amazed by that because some of the idea or innovation from them is the ones that you never think of. Amazing idea, good energy coming up. So I really encourage, if you want to try that in a project, first start from a project to try to put them into small teams. They choose their team by themselves, and you will see the power in that project. And then next, you could decide whether you put into your organization. Yeah, I hope I answer your question. Thank you.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Great advice, Marcus. Thinking of it as an experimentalist, but there's quite a lot in common between prototyping business and doing experiments, right?
Yep. Very true.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to 28 after 6. So do you have any other closing thoughts, Marcus?
So the energy I bring in and start this talk today is actually what I mentioned, the unconditional love. So I hope to spread this love within GBO, give and take. We always give first, and then we could get our values. So just like myself, I do come in with unconditional love and share whatever I understand about this topic and some of my experience. And I do hope that it will have some value to all of you. And with that, I'm looking forward on other subjects that you are presenting. I will be sitting there and try to learn from you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we're delighted to have you all together today. Thank you for sharing. Your contributions do shape the wave function to brings it to a higher energy. And we're preparing a survey. So I'll send that around to the different channels in which we're connected just to find out what specifically resonated with you today. So with that, I would like to again thank Marcus for his time and insights, and all of you for your time. And I wish you a good day, a good evening, and a wonderful weekend.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Bye now.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rebecca. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a nice weekend. Bye now.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye now.